What's up, everybody? Here we are again. You know, Jon Jones was training last night, got injured. He was wrestling, and he tore the tendon that connects your pec to the bone off the bone. 8 months, gonna need surgery. He's out. The co-main event now is Pavlovich versus Aspinall for the interim heavyweight championship.
You just heard it. Jon Jones is out. Stipe is out. And now Sergei Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall will take place at UFC 295 for the interim heavyweight title. As we all know, it was originally supposed to be Jon Jones versus Stipe for the undisputed title. However, you just saw it in that video. Jon tore his pec while sparring, and now he needs surgery. He's not going to be able to make the fight. I'm not a doctor, but from the research I've done, it looks like he'll probably be out for 8 months to a year. It's not entirely clear why Stipe isn't still on the card, taking on Sergei, who was the backup fighter for the interim belt. The only thing I know is from Ariel Helwani's interview with Tom Aspinall, which Tom said that Stipe only wants to fight Jones, which makes sense. He would make a whole lot more money against Jones for the undisputed title than he would fighting Sergei for the interim belt. There's also a strong chance he loses to Sergei, and if he loses to Sergei, he doesn't get the Jones fight at all. However, it's not really clear what will happen when Jones comes back. Will he fight whoever wins between Sergei and Aspinall? Will he go back to trying to fight Stipe? This has happened before, back in 2017, where Michael Bisping was the champion and Robert Whittaker was the interim champion. However, Bisping waited for the GSP fight instead of fighting Whittaker to unify the belts, and Whittaker actually defended his interim belt, and then when Bisping vacated, he was just automatically upgraded to undisputed. Here's what I think happened. Jones got injured, the UFC went to Stipe and offered him Sergei, and Stipe declined, so then the UFC went to Aspinall and offered him the Sergei fight instead for the interim belt. But this sucks for Stipe because there's a strong chance now he won't get that Jones fight when Jon Jones is able to return, and even if he does, that'll be like a year in the future. He'll be like 42 at that point, wouldn't have fought in 3.5 years, and with each day that passes, I like his chances less and less. But to be honest, Sergei versus Aspinall is a much better fight than Jones and Stipe. Now, does Jon Jones take on the winner of this fight, or does he go straight back to the Stipe fight? I don't know. I know he said he didn't really care to fight Sergei or Aspinall or any of these up-and-coming guys. He was much more interested in taking the easiest fights for the most money. But now with one of them having the interim belt, could that entice him to take the fight? Maybe. I hope so. But it's going to be a while, probably mid to late next year until he's back in there. And as for Stipe, it wouldn't surprise me if he retired. But let's talk about this Sergei versus Tom Aspinall fight. These guys are definitely the two most deserving of a title shot, even over Stipe, especially Sergei. Sergei deserves a title shot more than anyone. He's, I believe, 15-1. His only loss is to Alistair Overeem in his UFC debut. He's on somewhere around a 7-fight win streak with 7 knockouts. I think all of his fights have ended in the first round. He knocked out Derek Lewis, Tai Tuivasa, and Curtis Blaydes back-to-back. As for Tom Aspinall, his merit isn't as much as Sergei, but if you're going to throw a second guy in there, he definitely deserves it more than anyone else. But this is a great fight, one that is very hard to pick, a very close fight, two of the best fighters, and two guys who are the future of this heavyweight division. On the feet, this fight can be fairly competitive actually, depending on how both guys approach it. We all know Sergei has a lot of power. He's super fast, especially for a guy that has an 84-inch reach, and a guy who's as big as him. He's got so much power. With Francis Ngannou gone, he's probably the hardest hitter in the UFC. He's got a very good jab. I think he knocked Tai Tuivasa out with a jab. It's super long and stiff. I think the only guy who has a longer reach than him is Jones, and it's by like half an inch. That is crazy what I just said. What I'm trying to say is he has a great jab. He's also got a very good right hand, so much power in his right hand. His defensive striking is okay. He got tagged by Curtis Blaydes quite a few times, but Curtis Blaydes is also a very good striker, and he's got a very good chin. He's going to be a hard guy for Tom to knock out. Aspinall, on the other hand, is a much different striker. He's much lighter on his feet, has much better footwork. Not that Sergei has bad footwork, but I think Aspinall's footwork is more effective. He's got very good hands, a lot of power in his hands, super fast. He's probably faster than Sergei. but it's close. He's very good at exploding in and out of range, switching off at different angles, and then transitioning into wrestling and takedowns. However, his big gaping hole on the feet that Sergei is going to be able to exploit, and it's not a hole you want to have when you're facing Sergei, is the fact that he doesn't have the best striking defense. Because of his explosive style, constantly darting in and out of range and exploding into takedowns, he keeps his hands pretty low, and the biggest issue is he keeps his chin straight up in the air, which you don't want to do against a guy who's so fast and so powerful like Sergei. Now, where Tom Aspinall can absolutely dominate this fight is if he's able to take it to the ground. Now, because Sergei just knocks everyone out in the first round, we don't know much about his takedown defense. A lot of people like to bring up his debut fight against Overeem. I think people way overplay the significance of that fight. It was a while ago. He was 25. He was facing Alistair Overeem. And I also don't think his takedown defense was as bad as people say, but he did get controlled on the ground. However, in his last fight against Curtis Blaydes, who to me, behind Jon Jones, is probably the best wrestler in the heavyweight division, he was able to defend all of Curtis Blaydes' takedowns. Now, the fight only lasted 1 round, and I think Curtis only attempted 1 takedown, but he still defended it well, and Curtis Blaydes was entertaining the striking far too much because he was having a little bit of success on the feet, got too confident, exposed himself, and then got knocked out instead of fighting smart and taking the fight to the ground as soon as he could. A lot of people question whether Sergei has 5-round cardio, and he actually did go 5 rounds once pre the UFC, and he actually looked pretty good. So his cardio actually isn't terrible. Now, it could have got worse or better since that fight. We don't know, but I would say as the fight wears on, Aspinall's going to have an easier time taking him down and an easier time taking over the fight. But if Aspinall gets overconfident on the feet, starts catching Sergei as he moves in and out and avoiding Sergei's counter shots, and decides not to shoot a takedown, he could be in some trouble. He should go out there, not even entertain the striking, and try and get it in the clinch or take it down as soon as he can. Now, Aspinall doesn't have the best wrestling, but if he can take this fight to the ground, he will absolutely dominate because of his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's probably got the best grappling in the heavyweight division. It's between him and Jailton Almeida. But if he is able to take Sergei down, which is hard because Sergei has shown decent takedown defense, and Sergei actually has a background in Greco-Roman. A lot of people don't know that. I think Sergei will probably give up his back. Aspinall will be able to slide those hooks in, potentially look for a submission or flatten him out and possibly finish him with ground and pound. To be honest, I don't see this fight going the distance. Both of these guys are finishers. But in the end, with all that considered, as an early prediction, who do I see winning this fight? It's a very close fight, definitely closer than Jones and Stipe, and it's pretty simple. If Aspinall can take this fight down, he'll probably submit him or finish him with ground and pound. But if Sergei can keep this fight standing for the first round or two, Aspinall will definitely show some openings that he can exploit, capitalize on, and then knock him out. Aspinall does keep his chin in the air, so I could see Sergei throwing that jab, hurting Aspinall, then following up with a right hand and knocking him out. It all comes down to Aspinall's game plan. If he goes out there and entertains the striking, I don't give him much of a chance. I think Sergei catches him, and all Sergei needs to do is catch him once before Aspinall realizes he's in trouble and shoots in a takedown. It'll be too late by that point. But if Aspinall comes out smart, stays composed on the feet, and then transitions into a takedown, either as Sergei gets aggressive and moves forward, or Aspinall could push him back and then duck under the counter and go for a double leg, that's Aspinall's best takedown. And then from there, as Sergei looks to get up, he could transition to the back or transition into mount and beat him up with ground and pound. But that's all contingent on the fact that Aspinall can take this fight down, and I think he can, but I don't think he will before he gets knocked out. That's my early prediction. I'm gonna go with Sergei Pavlovich by a first round knockout. I just think on the feet in those early rounds, he'll be able to defend Aspinall's takedowns, and then because Aspinall keeps his chin straight up in the air and his hands low, I think he'll be able to catch Aspinall before Aspinall is able to take him to the ground. It's a close fight. I can definitely see Aspinall winning. I'm not confident in this pick whatsoever, but it is an early prediction. We got about 23 days, I think, until this fight. I'm so excited for this fight and this card. This card is one of my favorite of the year, to be honest. But anyways, that is the end of this video. If you did enjoy, please be sure to subscribe. I have a video coming out early tomorrow on Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury that you're not going to want to miss. It's a great video, so subscribe for that. Turn on post notifications so you know whenever I upload. Like the video if you did enjoy. Comment your opinions on this fight down below and on this card and what you think Stipe should do. Just comment anything you want. Follow my brand on Instagram, links in the description. Follow myself on Twitter and Instagram, also linked in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Stuck in a bad dream, Hollywood rich girl stuck in my backseat, and she wanna get at me, but the day's too short, can't let her distract me.